we're going to talk about the ICE shootings today, the reemergence of Kamala Harris for her new book, the MAGA meltdown over Jimmy Kimmel returning, and also black colleges protesting these white supremacists. I made a mistake. I went live and I'm like, oh, I need Danielle. And so here's Danielle. I'm tired. It's been a long day and I get no
You're
rest.
hilarious.
So I said, Danielle, we're talking about the ICE shootings, MAGA meltdown over Kimmel, Megyn Kelly's meltdown, Fox News's meltdown, the hypocrisy, the fact that also Kamala Harris's return, and we're going to talk about some other things. Can you hear me? I can't hear you. Oh no! Oh no! All right, let me get her back. All right, Danielle Moody, what is she saying? I added you again, Danielle. Can you all hear me? Danielle.
Yes.
There you go.
Like, yes.
Yeah, we heard you for a second, then you left. All right, so
Okay.
let's talk about these ICE shootings. Facts first. A shooter opened fire on a U.S. ICE facility in Dallas, killed two detainees, very important point, critically wounding a third detainee. The gunman died of self-inflicted gunshot wound and left behind ammunition that bore the phrase anti-ICE in blue writing, according to officials. No law enforcement agents were hurt in the shooting. Interesting enough, he ended up shooting detainees in bright orange jumpsuits. I digress. Kash Patel, the FBI director, posted an image of ammunition on social media saying that an initial review of the evidence indicated an ideological motive. Huh. The gunman, whose name was not released, fired from a nearby rooftop. A statement described the gunman as a sniper. Members of the Trump administration quickly sought to cast blame on harsh rhetoric against ICE agents. This seems familiar, like this happened 2 weeks ago. This vile attack was motivated by hatred for ICE. Kristi Noem, the Homeland Security Secretary, said in a statement behind a thick veil of Botox and makeup. For months, we've been warning politicians and the media to tone down their rhetoric about ICE law enforcement before someone was killed. And during a news conference with law enforcement officials, Ted Cruz blamed heated criticism of immigration agents. We should not be putting language out there that inspires mad men. Danielle?
Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. I believe nothing that comes out of this FBI, this administration, anyone that has been appointed or directed by Donald Trump to lead anything is a fucking liar. That is actually the only thing that they have on their resume is will lie for check. So for anyone to believe that were they given a did they find the Bic pen that was used for the scribbling on this bullet, and is it convenient that like, oh, now everyone's writing on bullets these days and like you can just copycat, and oh, if you're against ICE, so the only people that you're killing are the detainees in bright orange jumpsuits and not the actual ICE agents? Give me a fucking break.
And
This
who
is
says anti-ICE? I mean, it could happen. We're still waiting for the evidence, but have you heard lefties say anti? I've heard F-ICE, abolish ICE.
Yeah.
You tell me.
No one has said that. This is the next stage. I said this, Jared said this earlier, when we were live, where he was like, we have entered a different phase, the next phase of this regime. And it is the phase where I said that we moved past the Jurassic Park phase, which is the test the fences to see how
Yeah.
far you can take things, how far you can go before there is collective public outrage, to the phase of sociopathic murder, right? Like, on top of the fact that two detainees have been killed that we know of, and one has been critically wounded. I just want to remind folks that 1,200 detainees are missing, right? That were in ICE custody, in the custody of this United States government from Ron DeSantis's alligator Alcatraz that was
Yep.
holding 1,800 detainees, 1,200 of them, according to the Miami Herald, Esquire, and The Guardian, are fucking missing. And not one mainstream corporate media outlet, ABC, CBS, CNN, MSNBC, have been talking about this. 1,200 human beings have gone missing. So I say this, that we are in the next phase of sociopathic murder,
Yep.
of how far, how many people can go missing, how many people can be killed that they don't like, that they have already decided are criminals, are vermin, and aren't worthy of even a Google Excel spreadsheet that would tell you and their families and their lawyers where they are being moved to. This is the reason why Donald Trump had wanted and was given the opportunity by his MAGA-fied Supreme Court to move these detainees outside of the U.S. Because guess what? We are still, whether they're broken or not, is a country of laws. And there are certain things and procedures that are a part of our criminal justice system, right? Which is visitation rights, phone calls, meals, medical attention. You get my point here, which is why Donald Trump would want to move these people, right? Undocumented, innocent people outside of the United States so then he can do with them what he may. The next phase of this is literally the concentration camps, the executions, and the murder, and saying that, oh, it's Antifa. How neatly this fits for them. Give me a fucking break.
It's abolish ICE. I said it. Abolish it. F ICE. We don't need it. I think Democrats need to come out and say abolish ICE. It is now an organization that we've called the Gestapo. They have are masked armed ICE agents being used to terrorize black and brown people. The Supreme Court has given them power to crack skulls, racially profile, alligator Alcatraz, like you said. They're literally, we have videos of them just mauling people, assaulting people. They have picked up innocent brown people, put them on a plane, and sent them to El Salvador to basically disappear forever, including people like Kilmar Abrego Garcia. I believe it's time for us to openly abolish ICE. And what we've been saying for a while is that what's going to happen in this country when you have masked armed ICE agents terrorizing people, putting their hands on kids, showing up at schools, lying to teachers, right? Eventually, there's going to come a point where someone in this country, this friggin' insane country with guns, they're gonna touch the wrong person. And so what happens is they want this. MAGA wants this. Stephen Miller wants this. And you're all like, watch, prove it. The Wall Street Journal came out with a piece Wall Street Journal now, that said that Stephen Miller was the one who sent ICE agents in LA to Home Depot and 7-Eleven looking for provocation. He wanted it. He wants blood. He wants the Reichstag fire moment. And in LA, the people, thank God, organized, they were smart. And the LAPD, Danielle and I always bring out these receipts. The LAPD publicly came out and thanked the people, the citizens, the residents, for working with them, right? So they want escalation. Stephen Miller used the word invasion. Stephen Miller invoked the Alien Enemies Act. Stephen Miller wants to suspend habeas corpus. Stephen Miller said insurrection. They're getting more desperate. All of these scandals are now leaking. Leak here, a leak there, a leak there. Candace Owens doesn't buy this. She's on a warpath against Kash Patel and the FBI. The economic numbers are terrible. They're losing the Latino voters. Epstein files are not going away. Just came out yesterday in the New York Times, Daniel. I don't know if you saw, huge piece that Elon Musk's father
Father
allegedly,
is sexually abused his own children, 5 of his own children, including stepchildren, since 1993.
and and
That
and,
story.
and And that story, Epstein's not going away. Israel-Palestine's not going away. People are pissed off at America first. More and more people are realizing a bunch of deranged white men with guns are killing people. I want to remind everyone, the day that Charlie Kirk died in neighboring Denver, a 16-year-old white boy, radicalized online by white supremacy and anti-Semitism, shot 3 of his school colleagues and killed themselves. No one's talking about it. And guess who? Guess what's out of the news? Tyler Robinson, 22-year-old white man from a Christian conservative community, according to his friends, apolitical, most likely radicalized by Charlie Kirk's homophobia. He's the one who killed Charlie Kirk. But look at what they did. They did this 2 weeks ago, folks. I keep receipts. Before there was any suspect and any motive, Trump and the entirety of the right wing blamed the left. They're still blaming them and they at Charlie Kirk's propaganda rally, right? It wasn't they or them. It wasn't a black woman, wasn't transgender, wasn't a Muslim, wasn't the left, wasn't Antifa, was a white guy, a disturbed white guy with a gun. And what we know right now is another white guy who apparently wrote anti-ICE in pen, conveniently on a bullet, ends up shooting no ICE agents, ends up, ends up shooting only the ICE detainees. And we're supposed to believe this Kash Patel that leaked bullshit that the Wall Street Journal had to retract, that the Guardian had to retract, that blamed far left ideology. And a couple of days ago, folks, FBI sources have said they could not find any link between Tyler Robinson, Charlie Kirk's murderer, allegedly, and the far left. If there was a link, folks, those text messages written in Victorian English would have come out.
Not written in Victorian English, but the accuracy. Here's the thing. I continue to say this. They are playing in our fucking faces, folks.
Yeah.
They are playing in our faces. They are lying directly to us and daring us to call out the lie, right? Donald Trump is on a rampage right now because here's the reason for all of this. He's unwell. And they need to escalate their power grab before something happens to Donald Trump. Because they know that who is waiting in the wings doesn't have the charismatic hold on MAGA in the way that Donald Trump does. And so as Donald Trump and his regime are trying to make their authoritarian power grab happen, they're also trying to distract the public from wanting to know about him and his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. Thank God for the 12-foot statue that is now on the National Mall that shows Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein, which yesterday was Best Friend Day or Friendship Day, holding hands with a plaque that talks about their friendship. That is on the National Mall right now, which has called for what? More attention from the victims who are calling for action to be taken, that are calling for the release of these files, and all. The late Representative Raul Grijalva, who passed away in office earlier this year, his daughter just won re-election in Arizona's 7th congressional district. And now she will provide the 218th vote, the 218th signature necessary in the House once she is sworn in to do what? Release the fucking files. So, folks, all that is happening,
And she's and like Danielle
right
said, progressive. I think the Working Families Party supported her in Arizona. Proudly progressive, running a progressive campaign backed by Bernie Sanders and AOC. She's the one that won in Arizona. It was a very deliberate choice. I think the Working Families Party, I'm very confident they're the ones who also backed her. They also backed Zoran Mamdani, a Latina woman in Arizona, just completely crushed, which shows again, Danielle, that Trump is actually far weaker. These are all signs of weakness. And as they're getting weaker, they're looking for their Reichstag fires. Charlie Kirk was a big one, but they overreached, and they used Charlie Kirk as their horse vessel, as their martyr. More and more normies read about Charlie Kirk and are like, this guy sounds like a total hate monger. My God, it was terrible that he was murdered, but he said horrible things. And then they used Charlie Kirk to go after Tara Natia, which they did, Matthew Dowd, but then they went after their white. They went after the chosen white Jimmy Kimmel. And that was a bridge too far because they did it publicly, because this is what happens when you get power. You get reckless, you get dumb. They publicly, like literally, they shared their plan in real time and then followed it up with multiple posts. And then Donald Trump yesterday, yet again, came out and was so pissed off that they brought Kimmel on that he openly said, well, they paid me 16 million and maybe they'll pay me again. I love it. And right now, today, I don't know if you've been following on Twitter, I'm a masochist. They are melting down. Megyn Kelly's melting down. Fox News is melting down. All the trolls are after me, melting down that they brought Jimmy Kimmel back on. They're saying it's unfair. I saw his monologue. It was a great monologue. He didn't apologize enough. He actually did, even though he shouldn't have, in my opinion. He said nothing wrong. And it's all projection, Danielle. It's cruelty for you, civility for me. Safe spaces for me, no safe spaces for you. I'll use my First Amendment to say that black people were better off during segregation, and I'll mock Muslims and women and everyone else. And you should just take a joke. Comedy is legal again. Free speech is legal again. Take a joke. Just sit there and take it. But how dare you? How dare you exercise your First Amendment to come after us? Oh boy.
You know what I loved about the portions of Kimmel's monologue that I watched was him showing the right wing, the voices that came out, who he's like, I don't agree with anything they say. Some of what they say actually makes me want to throw up. But they came out, and when they do things like that, I'm going to lift them up. They came out and they said, this is wrong. He played Ted Cruz's clip. He played, I think, someone else's clip of saying that you cannot attack the First Amendment, that this is the country that we live in. And, and that if you come for this, right, this comedian, this left, then who's to say that at some point in time, somebody is not going to come for conservative voices, right? You had Tucker Carlson, of all people, Candace Owens, Ted Cruz, and others saying that the firing of Jimmy Kimmel was a bridge too fucking far because we are the United States and we have the right? Given to us by our Constitution to say what it is that we want, so long as we're not inciting violence or causing harm. And so I think that what is really interesting right now, because I want to go back to something that you said about Donald Trump being weak. And I do believe that he's weak, but I want folks to understand that doesn't mean that we're saying that he's also not dangerous. Because what
Mm.
I have always believed is that the more that Donald Trump feels backed against the wall, the more that he feels things slipping away, the more that he is ridiculed in the public, right? The likelihood is that he is going to escalate in his violence. And that's what I want folks to understand. And so yesterday, on top of the Tylenol bullshit, on top of the lies to the UN and the
Oh God, that
and
tweet.
just
Oh my
and
God.
just making Americans look. I mean, because if you were to judge us by the choices that we make in terms of who our leadership and voice is, my God, do we look like fucking idiots to the
I'm
world? That this anti-intellectual, fumbling at the mouth, like just brain dead human being is the president of the United States and is standing before his colleagues and telling them that their countries are going to hell and that America is in the midst of somebody's golden age. And what I said yesterday was on the Danielle Moody show, I said, if in fact you mean golden age as like golden shower, then yes. Yes, in fact, we are in a golden age.
And you know what? I mean, the reason why I don't repeat his words from the Tylenol thing, because the damage is already done. All this misinformation is being spread. All these pregnant women are like, oh, if there's even a 1% chance that me eating Tylenol is going to cause my kid to be autistic, I'm not, right? There are no links between vaccines and autism. None. Zero. Debunked. There are no links between Tylenol and autism. Zero. Debunked. It is a eugenics pro-death cult led by RFK and others, and it's also a grift so that once those people don't take Tylenol, guess what they're going to have? These supplements that the right wing sell. Oh, they're going to make a bunch of money. And I also didn't even quote him at his UN speech because it was like your deranged racist uncle or grandfather that you have to invite to the barbecue, and then he gets like the microphone at the wedding, and then what happens? People just casually take him away. They're like, okay, that's enough. That's enough.
Right.
Okay, okay. Our uncle's suffering from dementia. He fell down. He's a good guy, but he says some things once in a while. Okay, no, all right. Give him some soup. Give him some soup. Okay, that's the guy whom 49% of the electorate decided to make the president of the United States because they couldn't stand to have Kamala Harris. This is the death rattle and the self-destructive path of white supremacy. This right here, everything we've been talking about. This is your king. This is your daddy. Just humiliated himself and the America on a national stage, which is why people are not coming to this country. Immigrants aren't coming to this country. Tourism has fallen. America's brand has fallen. It was plus 15 around Biden. Now it's -3. People are moving away from America and going to China and Europe, creating new trade deals, right? China is no longer buying soy from American farmers. His own base The white farmers that said, we would rather die for Donald Trump, Danielle, they're dying. They're
They're
literally
taking
killing
their
themselves.
own lives.
They're killing themselves. This is what white supremacy does. And they're playing for all the marbles. They're looking for a Reichstag fire that'll stick. So this is another one they're going to use, the left. The Atlantic and corporate media, just such a reckless article that came out yesterday. I don't know if you saw, they quoted one study, but the headline and the framing is so dangerous. They quoted one study saying, uh, left wing violent for the first time in 30 years, left wing plots outnumber right wing plots. And I'm like, what? And then the framing of it, the headline, the timing of it, for the last 10 years, the GOAT has been right wing terrorism in terms of plots, in terms of violence, in terms of actual deaths. This year, if, and I got to find the study because that's the only study that I've seen, if left wing plots outnumber right wing plots this year, which isn't over yet, I saw that they didn't mention the CDC shooting, which was a Trumper. They didn't mention Tyler Robinson, not a Trumper, but then haven't seen it, right? And then at the same time, how do you casually just overlook, oh, I don't know, the last 30 years and the last 10 years, right? And already last night, folks, MAGAs jumped on that article and said, see, it's the left. How irresponsible, Danielle, as literally for the past 2 weeks, they're blaming them and they and the left for Charlie Kirk. It was Tyler Robinson that they come out with that piece to give fuel to bad faith actors who literally want blood. They're literally using the word war, civil war. There were literally threats against historically black colleges catching strays for a white man killing another white man. Danielle.
I mean, that's America, right? Is that, whenever white people need a scapegoat, whenever they need to take out their frustrations and their anger, who is it taken out on? It's taken out on black people in this country historically. Yes, HBCUs had nothing to do with Charlie Kirk's death. And the day after his murder, multiple HBCUs were put on lockdown for terrorist threats. And I call them terrorist threats because that's what white domestic terrorism is, right? That is what it is. That is what America has always been good at. But here's my thing I don't really give a shit, Waj, anymore about what MAGA world is melting down
Yeah,
over
I don't care. I don't care either.
because the truth is that we have been talking about for the last couple of months the fracturing that is evident that is happening inside of MAGA world. And last night, right, the only thing that Donald Trump did for Jimmy Kimmel was up his fucking ratings, right?
Yep.
You had his normal monologue, according to CNN, Henry Eisner, or what is the guy,
Yeah, Harry Enton, a couple of
Harry
hours ago, he
Enton.
said that. Then that was a couple of hours ago. There was 7 million.
It
I'll
was
get you
seven.
how much
That
the
was
number
this
is right now.
morning. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was this morning. This morning, he
I'll find
said
out right now.
on average, Jimmy Kimmel's monologue draws in, on average, 250,000 views. Last night, at the time that CNN was reporting, it had drawn 7 million views.
Guess how much now?
I'm going to say 10.
14.3.
Wow.
I'm going to share it right now, just to piss him off.
So it's like, so I want folks to understand that, like, we have been forced to kind of live inside of Donald Trump's alternate reality and MAGA's alternate reality over the last 9 months. But the truth of the matter is that people are beginning slowly to have a deep awakening about the fuckery that this administration and this regime has been doing, and their own people, right? Their own people are coming out of the woodwork and saying, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense. This isn't right. You shouldn't have the authority to do this. I don't like this person and I don't like what they say, but you sure as hell shouldn't have the authority to shut them down for saying it, right?
Nope.
Like, this is a reverberation. And I think that what Jimmy Kimmel did last night was brilliant because
Yeah.
he used this captive audience not to just talk about what was happening with him. He said, this show doesn't matter, but it matters that we live in a side of a country that allows for this show to exist. And it matters that we have a president of the United States that is celebrating Americans losing their jobs. It matters that we have journalists that he is suing, and journalists are under attack by the president of the United States. That matters. He's like, a late night comedian host, I don't matter. He's like, but these things do. And he used that captive audience of millions to express to them what you and I have been doing for the last 10 years, telling people to wake up to about Donald Trump and about MAGA, about Project 2025, and about their ultimate goals, right? And aside from just authoritarianism, it's a massive fucking grift. It's
Yep.
a massive fucking grift. You had, and somebody just put it in the chat, Annabelle, and I thank you for that. Talking about Dr. Oz and this whole shit around Tylenol. And you saw Tylenol released a statement, right? Tylenol released a statement basically debunking. The world has released statements debunking. So if there are, a portion of MAGA women that want to believe what the president of the United States, who has no medical degree, can't even pronounce acetaminophen, can't, appointed a man with a worm in his head and a drug addict to lead the country. If you want to listen to what Donald Trump says, by all means, you're entitled to make your own fucking decisions. But the majority of people, right, are seeing Dr. Oz as, oh yeah, you know what's better for you is like everything is an infomercial. Right? Like anything that they are suggesting, anything that they are offering up as like an alternative, it's an infomercial.
Yep. It's a grift.
Because
It's
they
all a
have
grift.
vested interest. They have vested interest in the drugs and the propaganda and whatever it is that they are spitting is about the return to their pockets, folks.
And this is the main thing that people need to watch for, the grift, because RFK Jr. and also Dr. Oz and many other people who they've culled, they also have a side hustle of promoting wellness pills and vitamins. And what's going to happen now is all these people, they're going to say, don't take Tylenol, even though, autism was identified even before Tylenol existed, even though Tylenol is probably like the most researched on drug of all time, right? Don't take Tylenol. Don't take vaccines, even though vaccines have literally helped save lives, from measles and polio. And guess what, folks? Dr. Monarez, who was fired by RFK for not towing the line, she said polio is going to come back. That's what white supremacy
Jesus
does.
Christ.
Your kids are going to die from polio and measles, right? So for the love of God, listen to your doctors. Don't listen to Donald Trump. But white supremacy, look, I'm at this thing right now. I saw Lev. Lev, are you still on or did you leave? Lev, if you're on, let me know, because Lev said he has juice about how the Trump administration is dying inside over Jimmy Kimmel. I'd love to get him on with your permission, Danielle, to give us that juice if possible. But, what I say now, folks, is the following. It's a rigged game. It's a rigged game. They demand civility, but they give cruelty. They demand a safe space for them, but they take away all of ours. Folks, stop playing the rigged game. Don't play the
Yeah.
game. I've been saying
Yeah.
this for years. The analogy that Danielle and I have given is the Charlie Brown analogy. Charlie Brown wants to play football. Lucy says, I'll play football with you, Charlie Brown. Charlie Brown says, Lucy, do you promise this time that you won't lift the football and I won't be humiliated and fall on my ass? And Lucy looks at the camera, laughs, and says, sure, Charlie Brown. Charlie Brown says, okay. So Charlie Brown then comes, runs towards the football. And what does Lucy do, Danielle? She lifts the
Lift the
football.
football.
And what happens? Charlie Brown falls on his ass. Look at corporate America. Danielle and I have been saying it for years. We've been on the show 3.5 years. We said corporate America will lay out the red carpet, for fascism, just like they did in Italy, just like they did in Nazis, just like they did in Hungary. And that's what happened. Okay. They're laying out the red carpet. And each and every single time that they bent the knee, did it help them? I want to remind you all, ABC gave Donald Trump $15 million bribe. They should have defended George Stephanopoulos. They would have won the case. Just like New York Times won the case, it would have been a 12b6 motion. George Stephanopoulos said nothing wrong when he called Donald Trump a rapist, because even the judge in that case said there's no real difference between rape and sexual assault when Donald Trump was held liable for sexually assaulting E. Jean Carroll. They paid him off instead of fighting it. Did it help them? Did it save them, Danielle? Qatar
Nope.
gave him a $400 million jet.
A jet.
Did it save them? Did it save them from Israel bombing Qatar, which, by the way, houses the largest U.S. military base outside of America? Folks, F them. Tell them F off. Literally say F off. I'm not playing your game. I don't give a shit. You all are hypocrites. Just do not play their game. Do not be bullied by them. Do not be mocked by them. Do not be humiliated by them. Do not be cowed by them. Stop playing ball. Tell them literally F off. F off, make me. F you. Make me. And all these, sorry for my other rant. I'm going to say this. I don't want to get you in trouble, Danielle. I've been having a little bit of beef with some of our white colleagues. The Ezra Kleins of the world, the white moderates that MLK warned about in letter from a Birmingham jail. Literally, if maybe I'll bring it up, we could quote it. He could have written that yesterday. All those white moderates who told us to shut up about Palestine, bear hug Liz Cheney, bear hug Adam Kinzinger instead, throw Danielle and Waj under the bus and the Palestinians under the bus and the transgender on the bus. Remember that from a couple of
Yep.
months ago?
Yep.
All those white moderates who came on the last 2 weeks and said Charlie Kirk did politics the right way.
Yep.
Now, brown cow, it's a funeral. Don't you sit there and bring out his own words against him. Now, brown cow, how dare you? Not in this moment. Now's not the correct time. Be civil, like us. Be civil. Why can't you all get along? Both sides are to blame. Both sides are crazy, especially the black and brown people bringing up Charlie Kirk's receipts. They've taken it a bit too far as well. Now, brown cow, just keep it real and keep it nice and keep it easy and let's be civilized. Those people, Danielle, what do you have to say about those people?
I have seen the responses back and forth, Waj. And, again, like, you wonder why, and I say you, and I mean like America, wonders why we don't ever have sustained progress in this country. It isn't just because of Republicans and MAGA thwarting our plans and our path towards a more equitable future. No. It is the white moderate that tells you to be comfortable with the status quo, that tells you not to yell too loud, that tells you not to kneel, that tells you to mind your business, that tells you to stay in place, that tells you to wait. Right? That tells you that your activism and saying, please stop killing me, is inappropriate and it's too loud. Right?
Mm.
We are where we are today because of the white moderates that are comfortable with the status quo, that they get paid to maintain the status quo by the same corporate oligarchs who are paying those on the right to destroy this country. And so when I hear these people come at you, right? Because you are vocal, because you are bold, and because you are unapologetically telling the truth.
And do you
They
ever
are
hear me
telling
shout?
on
Do I
they
ever shout?
no, but they are telling on themselves. They are telling on themselves. They are telling you that where we are right now is justified. They're telling you, don't worry, we'll have midterm elections, just campaign. Don't worry, because they're sitting on high. They're still comfortable. They have the financial ease. They have the whiteness that they think that they have for the protection, the complexion for the protection, and they don't. Right? They don't want us to call out the truth because it will force them to look at their own complicity in the destruction of our democracy. It would force them to look in a mirror that I say that they would rather shatter and then throw the shards at us than actually have any deep self-reflection, right? The audacity of privileged white men to tell us, Black people and people of color, when the time for righteousness is, when the time for righteous indignation should take place, when the time is right for good trouble and what type of trouble we should cause, well, they're the ones that are sitting and protected. Give me a fucking break. The Tims of the world, the fucking Ezra Kleins of the world, they need to shut the fuck up because they do not speak for the people. They don't know the people, and they're being paid to perpetuate a lie that keeps us complicit, ignorant, and in the dark.
I agree.
Those
Amen.
are my
And
thoughts.
you've seen the white establishment, and you've seen them come out in the past 2 weeks, and you've seen the performative politics, and you've seen how. Just think about this, folks. Just sit with us for a second. Suppose there was a man. I don't know. Let's call him Bob. And Bob spent saying his entire career saying that white people are intellectually deficient and white women only get their job because they steal a black woman and brown woman's job, and the Civil Rights Act was a mistake, and that Charlie Kirk was a scumbag who deserved to be murdered, and by the way, who's a person that white people love a lot? Who's their MLK? Uh, whoever their version of MLK is, they were a horrible person, and that a white Christianity is a sword that is being used to slit the throat of America. Suppose they said
Mhm.
all of it and more and more and more. And suppose they promoted a conspiracy theory that said white people are deliberately being used to replace brown and black people and weaken our civilization. And suppose they celebrated actively and paid suppose they actually tried to pay the bail of the guy of Tyler Robinson. Suppose they encourage everyone to
Mhm.
bail out Tyler Robinson. And then suppose that guy, Bob, who said all this, was killed. And suppose that guy, Bob, was killed. And now everyone, me and Danielle told you, you have to valorize Bob, white people. You have to love him. You have to sanitize him. He did politics the right way. You have to mourn him properly. In fact, if you don't mourn him properly, you'll get fired. In fact, if you do quote him like Karen Atia, you'll get fired. In fact, if you do literally say the right thing about what he said, like Matthew Dowd, you'll be fired. What would happen? How would you feel?
I mean,
Folks,
I know
that's
how I
what
would
Charlie
feel.
Kirk said.
Yeah.
Charlie Kirk said that about black people. Black people were better off during slavery. Charlie Kirk said black people, black women, how he mocked and ridiculed black women and their intellectual capacity. Charlie Kirk said the Civil Rights Act was a mistake. Charlie Kirk said MLK was an awful, horrible person. Charlie Kirk said literally that George Floyd was a scumbag, promoted all these hateful
Mm,
things
mm, mm, mm,
after we
mm.
saw George Floyd being choked to death. Charlie Kirk also tried to get his killer, Chauvin, right? Pardoned. Charlie Kirk said all those horrible things about Islam. Now imagine the rest of us, and we have the establishment saying, now, brown cow. Now, is this really happening? Stop generalizing. I'm sorry, is this really happening? I'm talking about white supremacy. Hey, if you don't like it, if you don't like this conversation, it's okay. I'm sorry. We can agree to disagree. I'm not saying all white people. And the fact that we even always have to say this.
Okay. No, I need to say this because I said this earlier today, and this is the shit that pisses me off. I need white people to stop needing to be coddled. I really do. I need the 1.3 thousand people that are fucking watching this, that I
1.6.
need you to stop the urge to say not me. I need you to stop looking for the applause and stop looking for the gold star and stop looking for the fucking badge and stop black and brown people for who are on the front lines doing the work, because guess what? We don't have the complexion for the protection. I need you to stop trying to pick yourself up out of the group and figure out how you inside of that group can shift it, right? Stop looking for special fucking treatment and stop saying, oh, but not me, and don't generalize and blah, blah. When our lives, our lived experiences, Waj as a Muslim is generalized. Me as a black person, as a queer woman is generalized. Stop it. Anytime that you have the urge to say, not me, not this person, ask yourself why you need to say that. Like, honestly, what is it that you need? Because right now the house is on fucking fire. I don't need you to say, I didn't light the match. That's not the fucking point. The point is the house is on fire. So what are you going to do? Pick up the bucket? Or tell me that you didn't light the match? Get a fucking grip. Please continue.
This is what they would do. And I know some of you all love Tim Miller, and you see this little beef between me and Tim. It's not petty. It's not a beef. I'm using Tim as an example. Tim Miller and Ezra Klein as examples. If you love them, go love them. Go love them. Go support them. Go do it. It's all good. Go love them. But this is encapsulates. I sent this message to Danielle just to ask her if I was wrong. I told Tim. Long story short, Tim and I were on a Piers Morgan thing where Tim. It was 4 white people and me. And I brought these receipts. I was the only person who actually quoted Charlie Kirk with his own words. They jumped on me. I was the only person who was interrupted multiple times. There were 4 white folks versus me, including Pierce. Tim tried his best multiple times, so about 4 times in the piece. If you look at passive aggressively, mostly aggressively, threw me under the bus. Wow, just shouting. I didn't shout. All you guys are. This is what I hate. And then Bulwark releases a 19-minute video saying this was the most depressing 19 minutes of Tim's life being in that panel. I'm like, what about being black and brown in this country? If that was the most depressing 19 minutes of your life,
Good for
you are
you.
privileged. And then they said he did the civility police, civility politics. Why can't we all just get along? All you guys are crazy. Meanwhile, I was the one literally bringing the receipts about Charlie Kirk. And then they said, Waj hate posted. He echoed Piers Morgan's terrible talking points. And I was like, look at that. This little snake sits there, uses that. F him. I know you all love your Tim Miller. He's mediocre. I've been on him for a while. Well, look at how he talks about Palestinians. That's why I got pissed off at him last year and a half. I said, hey, the dehumanization of Palestinians, right? He comes on and he got really pissed off at me. So he comes on and he does this. And I didn't throw him under the bus. When he said the good things, I agreed with him. When he says good things, I posted. When Bulwark says good things, I posted. But it's a great example of the white moderate. Using that example, Danielle, right? Go watch the video, right? Waj is shouting. Waj is repeating himself. Yeah, because I'm getting interrupted. Oh, look at all of you lumping me and like probably if Danielle
All
was
of
there.
you,
Yeah,
right?
all of us
All
would
of
get
you.
lumped together. Like we're the same as the right wing by calling out Charlie Kirk, right? And then people said, but he's gay. But I say he's a white man. He's a white man and a white
Yep.
conservative who's made a lot of money off of you guys, and he both sides when it's convenient. And I I posted at him, and I'll give you my post. Tim, your enduring blind spot has been and still is your whiteness. Being out of MAGA hasn't changed it. You have the complexion for the protection the rest of us don't. You also benefit from being a conservative and the affirmative action for white conservative men. But hopefully you'll evolve. This was his response. I'm quoting him. This is truly a deranged thing to say to someone on a personal level. This is going to be uncomfortable to hear, and watch/others will likely lash out. But I hope some folks
Lash out.
recognize
Uh-huh.
but I hope some folks recognize that this type of 2019 era identitarianism is what drove some people towards white identity politics and thus Trump. Danielle, your response.
I mean, I saw his response, and all I did was roll my eyes because they have the luxury of saying, look at us, we're neutral, we're not clinging to any identity because they don't see their whiteness as an identity unless, of course, they can weaponize it, right? Which they do often. Oh, you are yelling, even if you were to whisper, Wash, they would find a way to turn you into a deranged maniac. Why? And so because it's necessary for them, again, to feel like they are a part of this cult of innocence. I didn't do anything. I am just sitting here. Look how civilized I am, right? And I'm just like, you know what? Fuck you and like your civility. You don't know what it's like to live with a target on your back. You don't know what it's like to have your entire religion be turned into a terrorist organization or to have Black people hanging from trees and be told that, like, it's our own fault that we're being lynched. A man was lynched on his college campus, and they want us to believe that Black people commit suicide by hanging themselves from trees. The same fucking thing that they told us.
Danielle, today, historically black college. Did you see those two white guys who came to the historically black college without invitation and started doing debate me, bro? And then the college removed them, and they're calling themselves victims. Did you see that clip? It went viral.
No, but I'm just like, I'm tired, right? Like, I'm tired. Like, I don't have time for those types of white people. And I'm going to be very, very specific, right? These that want to demonize those that actually have firsthand experience with oppression, those that have firsthand experiences of violence, they want to tell us, don't believe your eyes, don't believe your experience. You brought this on yourself. And that has been the consistent rhetoric of these type of white moderates since the beginning of fucking time. They are worse to me than the actual rabid racists because I know where the racists stand. They tell me to my face, they have more courage to say it to our face, right? Than those that want to slink behind their slick bullshit words and their corporatist paid for fucking newsletters and tell us, right, how we should think and how we should move. And if you only did this, that, and the other thing, all would be okay. Colin Kaepernick kneed silently in protest on the sidelines, and that to them was offensive. But you can shit in the capital of the United States, and that to them is what patriotism looks like. Go fuck yourself.
And also, look. I want you all to read this because it's a problem that doesn't go away. Quote, I hope some folks recognize that this type of 2019 era identitarianism is what drove some people towards white identity politics and thus Trump. Translation, you made me racist. Translation, you made me anti black. Translation, you made me MAGA. And my response to that is, nope, I didn't make you racist. I didn't make you go shit in the US Capitol. I didn't make you promote white nationalist talking points. I didn't make you support Charlie Kirk, who said that black people were better off during segregation. That's a you problem. You did it, right? We always get that. You made me vote for Trump. No, no, no. You voted for Trump. You, by criticizing white supremacy, you made me into white supremacist. No, bro. I'm telling you not to be a white supremacist. How dare you? How dare you call out racism? You calling out racism made me racist. Please don't be racist. We're begging you not to be racist. In fact, I'm begging you not to vote for Trump because I'm not a psychopath. I don't need you to suffer in order to feel great again. I want you to have health care. I want your kids to have economic opportunities. You chose to vote for this man. They
Yep.
chose to vote for this man. A majority of white women chose to vote for Donald Trump,
Yep.
even though he bragged about grabbing women by the pee, was closest friends with Epstein, as well was held liable for sexually assaulting E. Jean Carroll. After he was held liable for sexually assaulting E. Jean Carroll, 55% of white women still went for Donald
Voted.
Trump, not the
Yep.
45%. 45%, you're queens, respect, thank you. So, by us calling all this, and folks, it's all connected. Everything that we've been saying on democracy-ish, people think we're crazy. What have we said? The two enduring sins of America are white supremacy and greed, racism and greed. It's manifested in Donald Trump and his administration. Right now, they're using the murder of Charlie Kirk by a white man. Charlie Kirk used his life to divide and conquer through racism, right? They're using that as the Reichstag fire to go after all of us. They're using this ICE shooting to go after all of us. And I will say this, Danielle, I want your thoughts on this. We talked about it
Mhm.
briefly. Went after transgender people. Gavin Newsom didn't say anything. Democrats didn't say anything. We lost the election. We can't be woke. Went after undocumented people. They passed the Lake and Riley Act with Democratic supporters. Went after pro-Palestinian activist Mahmoud Khalil, detained for no reason, taken away from his family, missed the birth of his child. Literally, Rumeza Ostrich kidnapped in the middle of the street, broad daylight by ICE agents for co-writing an op-ed. They didn't say a word. Crushed pro-Palestinian activists didn't say a word. And the rest of us said, Kilmar Abrego Garcia didn't say a word until Chris Van Hollen went and got proof of life. And what did you and I say? They're going to come for transgender. They're going to come from undocumented. They're coming from Muslims, Arabs, Palestinians. They're coming for legal immigrants. They're going to come for you whites. Oh, the privileged whites and the wealthy brown and black people. They're going to come for you. And then they finally showed up, not for Karen Attiah, not for Mahmoud Khalil. They showed up for Jimmy Kimmel. I got to keep it real.
Look, here's what I'll say because I need to go and prep for my 5 o'clock show.
Yeah, you got another show.
But here is what I will say. Again, there are 1,200 men that are missing. 1,200 men who were detained by these United States. If these men can go missing, so can you.
That's right.
And so the idea that we think that there is some distance between ourselves and these groups that are initially being targeted. Martin Niemöller wrote the poem during Nazi Germany, First They Come For. Right? First they come for. We are literally watching this play out. First they come for the trans athlete. Then they come for the undocumented. Then they come for the black people. Then they come for the rest of the naturalized citizens. Then they come for the Muslim community. Then they come for you. Because they will never be satisfied. And they can never be trusted. So I need for folks to stop looking at what is happening as, oh my God, thank God it's not me. Understand that if we don't get that our humanity is interconnected, that our fates are interconnected, that what happens to one happens to all. If you do not see that Gaza right now is a mirror on our humanity and the depravity that we are willing to stomach as a world, like if you do not see these things, then you will when they throw you in the back of an unmarked van and mass agents show up at your doorstep and there is no one left to help you because everyone else is gone.
Amen. And I'll end with this. I said this earlier today. I think there's three litmus tests for people. This is my recommendation, take it or leave it, that you should use to see the type of leader or voice or change that you want to champion moving forward. Number one, do people confront white supremacy? I'm not talking about white people. I'm not talking about white people. I'm talking about white supremacy. Are people able to have that conversation? Are they able to see through the whiteness and white supremacy and acknowledge it, confront it? Number one. Number two, have people come on the right side when it comes to Palestine? Or are they still supporting Israel and AIPAC? It's a litmus test. Tells you a lot. Do they still engage in dehumanization and the rationalization of an ongoing genocide? And number three, corporate America. Are they willing to take on the oligarchy? Or are they hush hush and they go against the workers? Those are the three litmus tests. I think it will tell you a lot about a person. Race, Palestine, the oligarchy. That's just my take. I leave that to you, all the nearly 2,000 people watching. And if they're not on the right side on this, I think you can push them. And I, for one, am all about radical forgiveness. I'm all about change. I'm all about people coming on board. But that doesn't mean we have to give up our humanity or censor ourselves or be silent. Never going to happen. Never going to happen. Folks, this has been The Left Hook. Danielle's at Damn Digest. For the nearly 2,000 people watching, we're going to have up on our Substacks. Everything's free because we're terrible capitalists. We want people to be informed. So if you're tuning in now, we talk about the ICE shootings, we talk about the double standards, we talk about Jimmy Kimmel. I wanted to talk about Kamala Harris. We'll talk about that on Friday.
Yeah.
And we talk about the white moderates that MLK warned about, who are still here and dragging us back. But what we say here on this show is F that, abolish ICE. We're not here to play that game. We're going to use our voices to be loud. Charlie Kirk was a racist. His murder was wrong, but that doesn't mean you sanitize and whitewash his legacy of hate and division and bigotry. And we're here to mock and ridicule MAGA and Donald Trump every step of the way. Be kind, be decent, and please, oh please, don't be a fascist. And go, Danielle. Where can they see you?
I will be live at 5 p.m. Eastern on my YouTube channel for the Danielle Moody Show. So please do consider becoming a subscriber. Again, all is free, as is all of the content on the Damn Digest. But if you have a few bucks and you're able to become a paid subscriber, do consider doing so.
Danielle Moody.
Follow
It's on
myself
YouTube.
and watch.
Google Danielle Moody. Go on YouTube. It's free. Become a subscriber. Get her to 50,000. Are you at 40?
No, almost at 32. Almost at 32.
All
So
right,
I'm
get her to
excited.
40. Get her to 40. Folks, I think I'll be back later tonight. Joy Reid has me on. I don't know. Maybe I'll take a break. We'll see. We'll see. But until then, don't be a fascist. Thanks, Danielle.
Thank you.